If you guys thought Remy was the only little menace, there is another one. This is Belle. She's a little more chill. Right, baby? You just want to go in my bed? Okay. A debate has recently been sparked in the theater community that has been sparked time and time again. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Both menaces in one video. Oh, okay. Okay, now both idiots are chilling in my bed. And I have a loft bed, so they're stuck up there for a little bit. If you're not an active part of the theater community, you probably haven't heard about the latest debate going on with bootlegs or illegal footage of live shows. But here's why I think you should care about it. Hello, Internet. I'm Kaylee, and this is the Kaylee Michelle Show. If you are new here, make sure to subscribe as long as you like what you hear. Otherwise, go find a video that you'll enjoy. And if you are coming back, thanks for sticking around. Like I said in the intro, if you're not a part of the theater community or you don't keep up with Broadway news, you probably haven't seen this latest iteration of the bootleg debate. But before I get into the recent debate, let me give context for bootlegs in the theater sense. So no, this is not like alcohol, like the 1920s bathtub gin. This is people going into live professional shows and taking footage or audio recordings and then uploading them to the internet, selling them, that kind of thing. Recently, this debate was sparked again by a post from the revival of Heathers off-Broadway. And if you don't know, Heathers, the musical, is based on the I think it's 1989 film Heathers. And it was starring Winona Ryder. It's a cult classic. It was made into a musical, I don't know what year, but it ran off Broadway for a few years. Then it ran in the West End for a little bit, which if you don't know, that is like London Broadway. Recently just opened as a revival back at its original theater off Broadway. They put out a post not that long ago asking people not to record during the show because they have seen such an influx in people recording. This has opened up a conversation that has been, like I said, going on for so long in the theater community. And it's a very multifaceted issue, so I'm going to give you my thoughts and recap some things. I've talked to people about this. I've done a bunch of research. I've watched a bunch of videos, tried to gauge what other people were thinking about this. So here are my thoughts as well as theirs. One of the main arguments I see in favor of bootlegs allows people to access theater that they otherwise would not be able to, whether it be for financial or physical or geographical reasons. There are a lot of different reasons why people can't access certain productions. I completely understand where people are coming from on the accessibility argument because, for example, I don't live in New York. I've been to New York City one time. I saw one Broadway show because they were very expensive. It was also near Christmas, so everything was the prices were all jacked up. The theater has gotten so expensive in recent years, and part of that is just because the scale of the productions, the economy of the big cities that these major productions play in. Sometimes it's the cast or the crew, but especially the cast. Sometimes stunt casts and stuff, they just jack up the prices because of those things. I understand those aspects of the argument. I also understand the physical limitations. A lot of Broadway theaters and off-Broadway theaters are not accessible enough for wheelchair users, power chair users, all people with physical and mobility limitations. So that's another aspect of it that I can understand. However, in a case like Heathers and many other shows, the bootlegging argument kind of goes out the window when it comes to accessibility when a pro shot exists. And especially for Heathers because the pro shot is free. If you have Roku, it's free on the Roku channel. Major pro of footage of live theater, and that is mostly just the preservation of it because when people film shows, it might be something that maybe it was a third cover, an emergency cover, or it was a cast that only ran for a limited time, or it was an opening cast before you were born on a show that closed decades ago, golden age musical theater. I'm thinking what's in the Lincoln Center kind of archival footage. That's where filming shows can come in handy. I'm gonna like kind of take the point of fantastic theater creator and critic MickeyJoTheatre, and this is the same exact hang up I have with bootlegs, and is the fact that the performers and the audience members, they have not agreed to be recorded. They have not like given their express permission to be recorded. To be fair, some performers will like repost or like bootleg clips that they see. In that case, in those circumstances, they ended up being okay with it, but banking on them just being okay with it doesn't really work. And especially for a show like Heathers, I'm going to keep coming back to that example because that's the one that popped off. If you don't know anything about Heathers, like I said, it's an 80s cult classic film, takes place in a high school. It's a little lewd. There are points in the show where like characters are taking off shirts and doing things like that. I won't go into major detail, but one of the lead actors, Casey Likes, who's portraying JD, he put out a massive message and he was like, I'm okay with doing this in a theater space without cameras, but he doesn't necessarily want to be recorded performing some of those like more intimate scenes. And that is completely valid. I mean, when you're going into screen acting and the role requires that kind of thing, you know you're going to be recorded doing it. That's just the gig. But when you're in theater, you don't anticipate being recorded until there's like a pro shot kind of thing, or maybe like promotional footage. Those are the only times you can really bank on being recorded in a professional theater setting. So it's not fair to the performers, and it's also not fair to the audience members whose heads or faces make it into this footage as well, because some people are not very good at keeping a clear enough view, and so you've got 1,000 heads in the way. Those people didn't agree to be on camera either. And that just opens up a whole nother conversation with like how comfortable people have gotten with recording in public. All this to say, I don't think bootlegging is necessarily the answer to making theater more accessible. While I do think recording shows has a benefit, it also like not only takes away from the live theater aspect a little bit, because like when you go to a live show, you are right alongside the performers, the crew, the orchestra, like you are right alongside them, your fellow audience members, and you are all experiencing this thing both on and off the stage together. Whereas opposed to a movie, like the actors and the crew, they've already worked on it. Now it's going out to you. Now the audience, us, are experiencing it. If I've done a poor job articulating my point too, I do apologize. It is very late. It is almost 1 a.m. I filmed this after work. I am very tired. I understand where people are coming from with arguing that theater needs to be more accessible. It is very expensive and it is not very widely spread. And I think that is an issue that can be resolved not so much by filming the shows, but just working to fuel and support theater programs to smaller communities and just like different regions all over the world, and not just like the major regional theaters or the tours that stop in to cities for maybe a week or two at a time. Theater is in so many other places, and it is a responsibility not only of people who are working on productions, but also theater goers to fuel that love and that passion for this art that is meant to be shared with as many people as possible instead of restricting it to certain areas. I think that would be the solution that would help far more than like grainy bootleg footage. And a quick like caveat to the whole like the actors don't consent thing too. Also, it distracts them. I cannot tell you how many videos I have seen from performers. They will call out literal rows and seats because they can see the person filming. It just distracts the actors. It distracts the audience members. I have been to shows where people have had their phones out in the audience. Put them away, especially with how expensive theater is. If you're paying that much to go to a show and you're not even going to watch it, that is an issue. And I think you need to get off your phone and go touch some grass, okay? The bootlegging debate, there are so many different factors to it, and I am, again, not articulating very well. I might revisit this in the future, but I will also link Mickey Joe's video in my description because it was just fantastic. And a lot of the things I said here are things he said in his video, just because he made many great points and I totally agree. So definitely took some inspiration from him on this. I will link that video so you can go watch it and you will get a much more like thorough discussion on this topic. But that's just like my little insight into it. I hope for those of you that don't really keep up with theater, that was still like easy to digest and interesting. This is something that I've seen going off all over the place and I just really wanted to talk about. So if you have made it this far, thank you very much for watching, and please comment your thoughts on this, whether you are well tuned into the bootleg debate or you don't really know what's going on. I could answer this when I am more awake. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, God bless.